almost nothing redeemable about it, and I kept hate watching every week because I'm like, surely it cannot get worse than this, and it did, because it was like skipping around so much. It was completely nonsensical. Half the time it skipped around between an episode. Like, you'd be in an episode, like, and then you'd be like jumping time so much to the point where like something would happen and we'd just jump away from it. No resolution, no nothing. We're just never gonna bring up that incident again. It's like, this happened, skip 10 years forward. That's what television is! We explained it! I was like, no fucking way, bro. No fucking shot. Oh my god, I hated it. I hated it so fucking much. I am excited for season 2, because I kept saying this about season 1. Surely this show can't get worse. And I'm just excited to watch season 2. I want season 2 to be good. I actually think it will be much better, because they don't get awkward, like 5-10 years ahead every single time something happens anymore. But I can't fathom why they didn't just, like, take longer to get to, like, season 2. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, season 1 felt like it should have been 2 or 3 seasons, or at least a couple of episodes longer. And I'm not sure why they didn't give them that room to breathe, because something like House of the Dragon, it really needs that room to just like breathe and and the people around them, and it just didn't get that. I didn't think it got that at all, and it was really like, it took something away from like what I thought was special about Game of Thrones, like that Game of Thrones could actually have that space to like explore, talk, like think, you know, like have these questions about like what might happen in the future, instead of just like hard cutting to like what happened in 10 years from now. You know what I mean? I don't know. Not everyone has to agree with me. I just thought it was really bad. But I am excited. I really do hope that season 2 is better, because I was really disappointed by season 1 personally. But sounds like you're talking about The Witcher. That's fair. The Witcher also had that problem too. House of the Dragon was a bit much at times. The hardest thing to follow. Oh, it wasn't even that it was hard to follow. Sorry, if I'm like, you know, not like making my point super clear, I apologize. It was not that it was hard to follow. It was that it was just nonsensical, because it's episode, right? Is that something happens. Or like the build up to something happening, right? Something happens.
Yeah, man, I'm crying.
An episode, how they're gonna carry that going forward, how that's gonna affect them, how that's gonna affect their lives. We didn't get that at all in House of the Dragon, in my opinion. It would be like, oh my god, this like giant thing happened, like someone fucking died, someone got murdered in front of my eyes. And then it was like skipped to 10 years later, and no one ever mentions that incident again. It's like, okay, well, but then why did we even see someone getting murdered in front of your eyes if we're never gonna, like, explore, like, the traumatic effect that had on you, or, like, how that influenced how you grew up, or, like, do you know what I mean? It's more of just, like, I want to know how, like, events affect the characters, or else I don't really care. I don't have a reason to care about these characters. I want to see what happens in real time, and I just feel like it takes so much away to not see any of that. I think if we had just gotten, like, a couple more episodes, it wouldn't have been as big of a problem as it was. But yeah, like, just in some of the episodes, it literally felt like someone died, and then the next episode was like, okay, well, that person's just dead forever. We're never gonna reference it again. And I was like, why would you even show that person dying then? Like, who cares, you know? That was my issue with it. Anyways. Someone explain the plot of the season to me like I'm 5. Basically, girl grows up, she's supposed to be the queen, her dad wants her to be the queen, but nobody else does because sexism, and she has to fight and prove that she could be a good queen, but then her best friend wants to be the queen and marries her dad, and then they fight. That's basically what happens. I felt really rushed. Yeah, exactly. It definitely felt super rushed. The show I most recently hate watched was a car customization show on Netflix. The show's subreddit is people making fun of the show. They put a gas engine in a Tesla. What the fuck? You guys, I've seen so many goddamn Cybertrucks lately. Do you guys think they look stupid? I think they look kind of silly in real life. I thought Game of Thrones was great TV, but terrible storytelling. That's fair. I think it was great TV. I think I thought it was good up until the end, and the last couple seasons just didn't really make any sense to me. Hi Crazy, hi Charms, how are you guys? Season 1 of The Witcher was mostly fine, but they had to fuck it up with season 2. Yeah, it felt like for a lot of these things, the writers of the show think that they're better than the writers of the original piece of media, in which case, like, why are you writing an adaptation? Like, an adaptation is simultaneously, like, the easiest...
Twerking!
Which, like, you know, can't do everything, of course. It's gonna be different than the original piece of media. But some of the people struggle with that. They think that they're better than the original writers. They think that their version is the best. In which case, like, why are you not just starting from scratch and writing a fantasy show that's, like, a different thing? Because that's what ends up happening. It's like, The Witcher is barely The Witcher. It's like, kind of The Witcher, but... these projects where they're like adapting previously like existing source material, and then they're like, well, fuck that shit, I'm way better writer than that. It's like, then why are you doing this? Like, why are you on this project? You know? They're also falling apart as soon as they leave the lot. That's fair. That's fair. I've seen 2 so far. I've actually seen a bunch in LA recently. They look like that sounds like a Disney movie where they resolve their differences at the end. I hope so. My feeling is that for Pride, the 2 girls should just make out. Because there was a lot of, like, unresolved tension at the beginning. I think that the 2 girls should just make out. I think that would help, you know? There are 2 things that look dumber than They do look better in person. I agree with that. I work in the auto insurance industry, and one part to replace from an accident costs so much money and takes so long to receive. Hi, Inquisitor, how are you? Yeah, that sounds scary. That sounds really scary. Lesson Adaptation on YouTube is a great series about botched movie and TV adaptations. Ooh, that sounds really interesting. I'll have to check that out. Hi, True Believer, how are you? They want to capitalize on the brand recognition? Yeah, for sure. 2 girls should make out. See, I know. I think that would just solve everything. It's Pride. Happy Pride, you know? Like... Can we get thrown a bone, or, like, what? The following story is inspired by some books this old guy doesn't want to work on anymore. We're not sure where this is going. Writers are still pretty poorly paid relative to the industry, right? They might just need to pay rent sometimes. I mean, yes, to an extent, of course. But, you know, it depends on what type of writer they are, what show it is, you know. But I understand what you're saying. But I don't know, I really do think that, like, as a writer, you need to sometimes, like, set your ego aside and realize that you just need to do the job, you know? I think that's my biggest problem with writers nowadays is, like, they don't want to do the job. They want to, like, go off on their own and, like, use the budget and use the name for, like, their own, like, little, like, fan fiction. And it's like, that's not what you were hired for. Do your fucking job. So, anyways, that's just me. Sorry, that's a rant. Speaking of good adaptations, I watched the rest of Fallout this week. Oh, Fallout was such a banger. That shit was so fucking fun. I will never stop talking about how good the Fallout show was. I thought that shit was amazing. 9 out of 10 in my IMO. I think there were, like, tiny little things here and there, but overall, amazing. I thought it was so good. If The Witcher being better is what gets someone to support UBI, then that's what it's by the way, I've never played any of the Fallout games. I've always thought of this, like, the Fallout world as kind of like, you know, post-apocalyptic, but like retro-futuristic, like kitschy, silly, goofy thing, where the Vault Dwellers would, in essence, kind of like be sort of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, because they've been like so separated from everything else, and they've been growing up in this kind of like, you know, 50s, 60s little like wonderland where everything is like, oh, you know, I just bake some cookies for the kids, nuclear family, like kind of thing. And I just thought it was a really interesting take. I don't know. I like how not everybody was this like hardened ass like war criminal kind of thing. It was kind of like the people knew how to take care of themselves, but some of them were just obviously not in contact with you know, the outside world for a very, very long time. And that's kind of what happens is like when people narrowing your field of view until it's like all you know is this like tiny little bubble. I don't know. I thought it was cool commentary on like you can kind of just like be in this bubble forever. And it's only when you finally break out of that is like you realize how much different the world is. And I don't know, I thought it was cool because in the vault they have no reason not to take care of each other. Because at least in their vault it was like pretty, you know, for the most part, pretty decent vault to live. But outside you see like, you know, it's every man for themselves. I don't know, I thought it was really cool. I can definitely understand that like it may be a bit different than FailArmy games. And I just, obviously I don't have that background so I can't speak to that, but I don't know, I thought it was good. I really liked it. I only saw the first That's fake. I have zero interest in the Fallout lore, but people say the show is good. I'm kind of curious. I would definitely check it out, I think. Hi, Edward, and this is for you. I don't know. I think, you know, if you like it, then I would check it out. It's a really neat else world where the microprocessor was never invented and they have advancements that we don't. Yeah, for sure. There's a couple things that were a little weird, but that's fair. Vaults and Fallout are great places to live. Smile. Yeah, exactly. What you're describing sounds very similar to the games thematically. I do think it is like thematically similar to the games. It just might not be like the type of thing that people expected. Because I can see how it could be like almost a little boring to have like a vault dweller as your main character. But I don't know, I thought it was really like an interesting kind of dynamic shift. You know, where we're not just like following somebody who's already used to this world. We're kind of like exploring it with them. I always find that those kinds of shows
I am, and I'm crying. Well,
next position, you're kind of like learning as the character learns, you know. So it's a bit like easier to go about things that way, at least for me. Speaking of vault dwellers and being stuck in a time bubble, have you seen Blast from the Past? It's like a Fallout where a 90s rom-com? No, but that sounds amazing. Wait, I definitely want to watch that. They should start a cult in her Vault-Tec vault. Oh gosh, fair. We should. Wait, can I ask you guys a question? What do you guys want to do today? Because, we could try and beat the last boss from Another Crab's Treasure, or we could just move on to Crow Country. I don't know which one you guys would rather do, but let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think. Could we maybe another hour? So we could probably do Crow Country also tonight too. What about the butt game? That one will start next week. We'll start that next week. I wanted to like sneak Crow Country in today, and also I did download Stellar Blade, and I think it's kind of long, so or it's like a semi big download. I'm not ready for that one. Just hi, Lizard, how are you? Oh my god! Same thing we do every night, trying to take over the world. I wish. Big download, all the booty. I know, big booty. Yeah,
Surprise.
so.
Get up.
I didn't know if people really wanted to see the end of Another Crab's Treasure, because like we can always do that. It's probably gonna take like an hour to 2 hours to beat the last boss, and then we could swap to Crow Country, or we just start Crow Country first. Up to you guys. Up to you guys. But I'm happy to do either. It was just a little more like boss fight, and then Crow Country I think is kind of more of like a chatty game, because I think it's like more puzzly and, you know. Big Booty available, only $9.99 a month. I mean, listen, if you guys like Big Booty, I mean, not to like, you know, toot my own horn or anything, but there's Fansly. No, just kidding. Hi, Uzur, not warned you. Seriously. And we have content available for everybody too. So there's free content, there's, you know, subs, whatever. So, you know, there's content
I got a video.
Everybody. Who are you? I don't know. Who are any of us? Really? Think about it. I don't know.
1, 2,
Like,
3.
comes in
Frontier lost all our luggage.
of television television I've ever watched. Genuinely. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I thought that there was like almost nothing redeemable about it, and I kept hate watching every week because I'm like, surely it cannot get worse than this. And it did. Because it was like skipping around so much. It was completely nonsensical. Half the time it skipped around between an episode. Like you'd be in an episode, like, and then you'd be like jumping time.
He's pushing me! Oh, I'm going back!
No resolution, no nothing. We're just never gonna bring up that incident again. It's like, this happened? Skip 10 years forward. That's what television is! We explained it! I was like, no fucking way, bro. No fucking shot. Oh my god, I hated it. I hated it so fucking much.